All right, we're good, Mr. Chair.
All right, so being 6:30 on June 17th and having quorum, I'll go to item 1 and call the Bridgewater Planning Board to order. So in person this evening, we have Mr. Shane O'Brien. He's our town planner for one more meeting. We have Mr. Chris John Fabrowski, Mr. Dan Greenberg, and Mr. Tom Pratty. I'm Patrick Driscoll, the chair. Is Mr. McDonald with us this evening or no?
Yeah, Michael's here. Via
Yes, sir.
Zoom.
All right, and Mr. McDonald is with us via Zoom. Sorry, Michael. All right, so we also have Mr. Stephen Solari, the building commissioner, with us via Zoom as well. And Mr. Tansey is with us or not with us?
No, Mr. Tansey tonight.
Okay, and Mr. Tansey is not with us this evening. Okay, so so item 1, we call it to order. I'm going to take a couple of things out of order. Item 4 is a definitive subdivision continuation. This is for 548 South Street, map 61, lot 121. This is being proposed under the Bridgewater subdivision rules and regulations for approval of a 4-lot subdivision with the requested waivers. This was continued from our June 3rd meeting, 2026. We do have a letter that we received today from SCA Silva Engineering Associates asking us to continue this hearing to the July 15th, 2026 meeting. We received that letter June 17th, which is today. So do we have any discussion on that? Is there a motion
So moved to continue.
by Mr. McDonald? Any second?
Second.
By Mr. Pratty? Any discussion? So because we have Michael remote, I'll take the roll call. Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mr. Pratty?
Yes.
Mr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Fabrowski? And I'm a yes. So thank you. So that 548 South Street is continued to June 15th. July 15th. You're right. Today's June 6th, 17th. Right. July 15th. Thank you. All right. Taking a couple other things out of order, just so we don't hold people up. We do have 2 A&R plans this evening. The first one is 292 Bedford Street. This is map 48, lot 55. Some of you may remember this is the O'Reilly Auto Parts building we just approved. One of the conditions is the Form A comes back. So I'll turn it over to you guys. Just state your name and address. And
Sure. For the record, Steve Giosa with SciTech Engineering. With me tonight is Steve LaBelle. He is the owner of the property. As the chairman read into the record, this particular Form A plan creates 2 parcels off Bedford Street. When we went through the site plan review process, it was determined we needed to isolate the proposed O'Reilly Auto Part site from the remainder of the land to the north. So what you see before you is a 2-lot subdivision. The one that's a little bit of an L shape, an upside down L shape, would be the O'Reilly parcel. The parcel meets frontage, area, shape requirements, as does the remaining land, which is labeled as lot number 2, a little bit bigger parcel, where the existing sales trailer is for the existing operation on the property. So we think it's fairly straightforward. It does meet all the standards for a Form A plan, and we'd be looking for an endorsement this evening.
Mr. O'Brien, you've reviewed it and it complies with everything?
That's correct. It does match the A&R, the site plan that was presented to the board. So there's no issues with frontage, and they are checking off one of their conditions as part of the site plan review approval.
Are there any board questions or comments? Mr. McDonald, you good?
Yes, sir.
All right. If there's no board discussion or questions, we have a motion to endorse
I'll
So
make that
moved.
motion, Mr. Chairman.
by Mr. Pratty. Do we have a second?
Second.
By Mr. Greenberg. Any discussion? I'll take the roll. Mr. Fabrowski?
Yes.
Mr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Pratty?
Yes.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. All right, thank you.
Very good, thank you.
All right, the Mylar, if they want to sign it. Pick up.
All right now.
Yeah, sure.
You wanna sign? Shane, when we can, you prefer it? Right?
What's that?
You prefer 3 signatures? when we
Yeah,
can?
2 or 3, whatever. You're a sole signatory, so,
Today is 6.
but we'll take everyone.
Just years ago, we had to get a signature on file with the registry. Do we still do that? Should we get it? Well, I mean.
I believe so. I haven't had an issue with the registry, so.
Yeah. All right, moving on, we have one more Form A plan for 476 Cherry Street. Okay. Mr. Silva, go ahead.
Yeah, Larry Silva from Silver Engineering Associates. Basically, it's a simple Form A. We're just taking the, Mr. Perkins' property, dividing it into 2 conforming lots, very generous sized lots. And it fronts on Cherry and on Magnolia Way, the right lot is on 2. And that's pretty much, it meets everything that's required, well over what's needed.
Okay, any board questions, comments, discussion?
Seems very clean. No.
Mr. McDonald?
Nothing from me, sir.
All right, so there's no discussion. Mr. O'Brien, you reviewed it.
Yep, one of the easier A&Rs that I've reviewed.
So if there's no discussion or comments, do we have a motion to endorse
Once again, Mr. Chairman, I'll make that motion.
by Mr. Praddy? Do we have a second?
I'll second.
By Mr. Greenberg? Any discussion on that? Okay, I'll take the roll call. Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mr. Praddy?
Yes.
Mr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Fabrowski?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Okay. Thank you.
I got the Mylar again, so we'll pass it around and.
Next time we'll make you wait an hour. Nice doing the Form As back in person now, because they're done that night. You get them signed, everything. Right?
Actually, much easier to
Right. So, Marley. So,
Jeffrey, only were pushing you on.
all right, so just while you guys are working that out, I'm gonna go back to item 2, which is the joint public hearing with the CED committee of the council. Shane, could you do me a favor though? Do you have so Council Hunt, we opened up our public hearing already, and we already discussed.
Oh, the legal ad? Yeah, I'll bring it up.
No, what we already opened ours and we discussed it to a point. And that's kind of how Mr. Greenberg, myself and Dr. Perry get together and,
We're just telling you what we discussed.
no. So we opened it up, we already opened it up and had our hearing the night you guys couldn't make it. So we'll start all over, but our hearing is opened and we already read the legal notice. So you probably want to read the legal notice again. Mr. O'Brien's going to pull it up for you
Oh,
though.
I was gonna say, I don't.
So
Oh, this one? Yeah.
I'll open the public hearing for us and then I'll turn it over to you, okay?
Yes,
If that's okay. Is that good?
yeah, I was just looking to see, Mary, where is the,
Shane's gonna pull it up for you.
Yeah, I'm going to pull up the legal ad. Well, we can read it off the screen.
You know what, Shane, I'll just read it again. If you pull it up.
Well, I
can see-
want to, I believe there was a legal ad that I pulled. Look, sorry for those at home. No, I'll pull up the legal ad that we,
I'll just read it again. For
yeah,
both
that's
of
fine.
us.
If you want to do that too.
Okay,
All right.
okay.
You'd rather that? It doesn't hurt to read it in twice. So I will go to item 2. I'll open the joint public hearing with the CED committee. This is a zoning amendment, ordinance DFY 26-014. This is an amendment to the CBD regulations. Shane, I don't remember when this was continued from, but we originally opened the hearing, which we'll be able to see on the public hearing notice, correct?
Yeah, I'm going to pull that up right now.
Do you want to call your meeting to order and open the hearing?
Yes, I'll call the meeting to order for the CEDC committee from the town council with representatives from the council, Mary McGrath and Dr. It just space in my brain. We were here too late last night. Perry. Dr. Perry. I'm Marilyn Kenny-Hunt. I'm chairing this committee now. Do I need to say anything more than that?
That's all you need.
No?
Okay.
All right.
Apologies. I got to pull it up.
All you had to do was look at this nameplate. This name's on it.
I can't see it. It's sideways and the sun is shining against it. Oh, yeah, I can see it if I, no, all I see is Ms. McGrath.
I think it was, what was it, that March, April meeting?
Yeah, but in the planning board files, can you
Yeah, I
find
got it.
public hearing?
I got it. All right, it was in a Word document format. I was trying to find the email. Apologize for the dead air, everyone.
Why don't we go through it and then we can do public comment?
All right, so yeah, this is the continued legal notice that we posted in April 5th for the April 15th meeting.
Okay, so I'll just read it for both of us. So legal notice of a public hearing zoning amendment pursuant to section MGL chapter 48, section 5. Notice is hereby given. The Bridgewater Planning Board will be holding a public hearing on Wednesday, April 15th at 6:30 PM in the council chambers, 66 Central Square, Bridgewater, Mass. 02324 via Zoom. There's a website to receive public input on the proposed ordinance DFY 26014, amendments to CBD regulations. The entire proposed zoning ordinance amendment is on file in the Community Economic Development Office to view, as well as online at the town's website. Please contact the Community and Economic Development Office phone number listed for any questions. The Bridgewater Planning Board posted this on April 1st and April 8th, and we've continued it since that 4/15 date. So your legal notice is the same. It would just say the Bridgewater Town Council, right?
Yes, it would.
So I think that's probably sufficient that we read that in. Are you comfortable with that?
Do we?
That's good
we
with
don't need
me.
to name names, do we? Like we
Uh,
already did that?
Shane, do you think for the public hearing, we should read it in again, but say the town?
No,
council?
I think there was a separate notice that was sent for the CED committee. But let me confirm.
That's all right.
CED.
So it was noticed twice. That's all we want.
Correct. We noticed it way back when, but there was with the new reforming of the CED committee, I believe their legal notice came out probably a couple weeks ago.
And you were scheduled to meet with us on the 15th, when Council Indy was the president, but you guys couldn't make that date work. So it was noticed.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you guys comfortable with that, or do we want to wait, Shane?
I'm fine with that. And if something comes up I'll correct the record on behalf
Okay.
of you guys.
All right. So Dr. Perry, are you sponsoring this now?
Yes, I think we made an amendment in our last meeting that I was taking over for Mr. Loretti as sponsor.
Did you do that last night or?
Yes.
Yeah. So do you, I can give an update on it? You can give. an
That's fine.
update?
Again, yeah, we can go through the edits and we can discuss it together
All right.
as
So
we go
just-
through.
Just a little bit of history, and I think everybody has there's a full red line version that council already worked on when he sponsored the original ordinance. And I worked with him on it a little bit, he worked on it, and I think overall it addresses most of the issues. Um,
Mr. Chair, I found the notice.
do you want to pull it up?
Yep. Sorry, I didn't have it on hand. I did have it from, I found it from the Enterprise website.
6.3 and 6.10.
So
Oh, so they re-noticed this.
that's correct.
Oh, okay, so
So let's
can you see that, Marley? Or do you-
Not really, but
Do you want to read it into the record? I can do it from here.
Yeah, you do that.
do you mind doing it, Kevin?
Oh, I certainly
Thanks.
can.
It's hard
All
to
right.
see.
So notice of public hearing, zoning amendment, Town of Bridgewater pursuant to MGL Chapter 40A, Section 5. And notice is hereby given that the Town Council Community Economic Development Committee will hold a joint public hearing with the Planning Board on Wednesday, June 17th, 2026 at 6:30 PM in the council chambers at 66 Central Square and via Zoom to receive public input on proposed ordinance DFY 26-014, amendments to the CBD regulations. The proposed ordinance may be viewed on the town website or in the town manager's office in the Academy building during business hours. And this was posted on 6/3 and 6/10 of 2026.
All right, great. Thank you. All right, so I think everybody received this, the thick packet. This goes back to March or April of this year when we began the process. And what I worked with council already, then he took it and he added his tweaks to it. I think he did a good job on it. Just looking at it and talking to Mr. Solari and talking to Mr. Greenberg and Dr. Perry, we identified a few other things that might need to be tweaked. There's a couple other documents that have been created since then. So you probably want to get familiar with them. Maybe we schedule another meeting to vote on it or whatever, but we can kind of go through however you want to handle that.
I don't know if the rest of the committee has had a chance to look at those. I know they were posted and given out to us. So if they've been reviewed, I think everyone here is ready to discuss. I'm not sure about the rest of the planning board.
So this is what we started with. Then council already, the ordinance itself, Shane, correct me if I'm wrong, came through without the full red line version. Is that correct?
correct. So what we had originally emailed and what was presented as part of the public record was the original ordinance that was sent to council. I know since that time, we've had discussions, like you said, about correcting it and kind of making it a little bit neater, because there were some discrepancies with the original ordinance where it didn't really kind of fit in. And we talk about in terms of when we add zoning amendments and things through process, it makes it easier for the town clerk's office to see what to subtract and add, whereas the documentation that was provided was just kind of like, all right, so where does this go? Rather than just kind of throw it in together. So you guys have been kind of organizing it a little bit more, so it's more legible.
Yeah, so then what happened was, so this is where we started, and council already put forth an ordinance where what he tried to do, and not being familiar with zoning, right? He tried to summarize it, and he put together a 5 to 6 page summary of the red line, blue line edits, whatever you want to call them. Some of the things some of the things that he broke it out by sections, and those sections really don't exist in the zoning.
Mhm.
And some of the things that he included in here were already changed, and a few things that he that corrected in this document didn't make it into the summary. So when we talked at the planning board level, we talked about the need to kind of clean up the summary. We were generally in favor of what was going on.
Yep.
But we wanted to clean up the summary, and that's kind of how I met with you two, to kind of clean up the summary.
Yep.
But I don't know, Dr. Perry and Council Hunt, if you want to walk through the changes in the original, and then I can kind of show you how I summarized it, the changes in the big document. I don't know if you want to go through all the changes, and we can kind of
Could we
discuss
go
it.
through all the changes on what Loretti did, and you can tell us which are good and which aren't not good? That changes, I mean, each one?
I think we're probably better off to start with this original document. What
one?
you were referring to, Mary, is the blue line version?
So you'll tell me which one you're not using on this
Yeah, yes and no.
as we go through?
Honestly, for right now, I would disregard Counselor Reddy's summary
Okay,
and focus on Counselor Reddy's red line. And,
Okay.
and then what I did was I recreated the summary that captured everything and removed the things that we already did.
okay.
That's what I have,
Yeah, so,
this part that you did. I
so,
don't,
so we don't, I think,
I don't have
I
that
think what
one.
we would probably do is if we were in favor of it, we would respond back to the council like, yeah, generally we're in favor of this, but here's our
These are
recommendation.
the
You know what I
changes,
mean?
right.
So, and how you guys handle it, you guys
So
handle it.
you rewrote it?
I did, yeah.
Okay,
I didn't rewrite it. I took the red line version. I took all the red line sections and put them on one page.
yeah.
And then took all the red line versions and removed it. So you have a red line version summary and you have a clean summary, which we can go
I
through.
think if we just go through the red lines
Yeah,
and
so
discuss, I think would
let's
be
go through.
appropriate.
If you guys are okay with it, I know the planning board did it already, but if just where you guys are here for your benefit, let's go through the big red line version
have
that
that.
council already did. And I can put, Shane, can you pull that up for the public's benefit?
Yeah, I got the red line version. Do you,
The
we're
one
at
that
3-2?
Deborah Ward sent us?
I believe that this is the one you just sent to me.
No, pull up, so when I sent you the documents, there were 3 attachments.
No, I know.
One was what Deborah Wood sent from council already.
Yeah.
And 2 of my summaries.
Oh, there it is.
If you go into that email, there's the one I sent today, there's 2, yep, there you
There's
go.
the one?
All right, yep. So if you go to the 3rd page, that's where we'll start.
All right, so there's nothing,
Nope, nothing there.
nothing on 3-2. All right.
Yep, can you see that now?
You can move your chairs up too if you need to be able
All
to
right,
see
and
better.
just to kind of summarize what we've done or what council already was working on and that I helped them with, and then what Mr. Greenberg and Dr. Perry and I did with the next step is there's really like, there's 3 major pieces to it. One is to reduce the size and the height of the buildings. 2 is to send the control back to the planning board. And 3 is to really define the commercial space requirement because it's been all over the place. So it's really height and size, commercial requirement, definite expectations, and control back to the planning board and going back to site plan review. So on this first table, this 4.2, the changes we're making, this is just basically a cleanup of language. There was we said before, no setback from no setback front or side requirements for existing non-conforming lots, and then it went into conforming lots, but then it went into new lots. It never referenced existing conforming lots, so we just cleaned that up. So if you had an existing conforming lot or a new lot, you have to comply with the regs. An existing non-conforming, that's just cleanup. The other thing too, what we did was height. So right now you could do 4 stories in the CBD. We reduced that to 3.5. So CBDS, you could do 3.5. CBDI, you could do 4. We match CBDS with CBDI. So building size is down a half a story. So I think the intent is that would people would, you'd have to do dormers or shed dormers or more attractive 4th floor if you wanted to, instead of just a full floor. So one thing I will say is that, which is not on here, and we can talk about later, Dr. Perry brought up, and we've talked about this often, Main Street is very different than the rest of downtown. More lawns, more residential. So what we did talk about was that so we're looking to add, and which we'll come back to later, but under that first footnote, we're considering adding another footnote that says projects in the CBDS and the CBDR fronting on Main Street shall maintain a minimum setback of the existing structure or 20 feet. So if you have a structure way back, like we did at 96 Main Street, you don't have to build it that far back, but you have to come up, you have to be 20 feet off the road. If you have an existing building that's at 10, you can be at 10. So that's something that we may look to add, that three of us threw around and talked about, and that's, that's something we'll have to talk about as well.
Yeah, just the concern, Pat, was again, based on the types of buildings on Main Street with the existing regulations saying 5 feet when you're on Broad Street. Bringing a building all the way up to the sidewalk on Main Street may seem a little out of place, or, too forward facing. So again, with that project at 96 Main Street, was concerned of how close that building was coming to the sidewalk. But for anything else in that section, again, either, existing setbacks as they are existing, or that 20 feet, I think would be a good measurement to go for Main Street.
So are there any questions or comments from the boards on this? Yeah, pretty straightforward. All right, so Shane, if you go to the next page. So one of our first projects, we saw an issue with off-site parking. There was really no, right there. There was really no clear direction as to what you needed to have off-site parking. And Mr. Solari, I think we consulted with you on this, that there needs to be a more permanent solution. So if somebody's going to use parking at somebody else's lot, we need to make sure it's there, longer than 30 days after the project gets an occupancy permit, so that project always has parking. So if somebody on Main Street has excess parking and they want to use that parking for another project on Main Street, then there has to be either an easement or a deed restriction that runs with the chain of title with that property, so that it's not a month-to-month agreement where we approve a project and then all of a sudden there's no more parking.
And we will look into the use of that lot. In other words, the capacity of parking based on rules and regulations of today. In other words, if the lot is 20 parking spaces and we're going to deed it to another lot, but that lot is already maxed out based on the uses in that building, is the person that is going to be using that lot, how many spaces does he get to share if it's already maxed out?
So Mr. Solari, I'd imagine if a property owner had a parking lot, they'd have to demonstrate they have enough for their use plus extra, is that correct?
Yeah.
I would
Exactly. So if someone was going to give spots, he has to have extra spots.
Right.
If he's already maxed out by the use that he has on his property, he cannot issue it, give any spots to somebody else. Correct.
Perfect.
Oh, it makes sense, right?
Right.
Could, Mr. Praddy's mic wasn't on, could you hear him?
Yes. Yes.
All right, great.
He was loud enough.
Mr. Solari, you like this language better, or is there something we should tweak, or no?
No, I think it's perfect, Pat. It just makes it very simple when I've got people coming into my office to discuss projects. It's very easier to give them an exact what our requirements are than trying to do the if or but. It's a lot easier.
All right, so next page.
Could I ask a question? Would you mind? On this, is this a lifetime deed? As long as the building is there, a lifetime? Like if I gave my deed to a restaurant, as long as the restaurant's there, that's going to be a deed that lasts on my parking lot?
Well, Steve, unless they found parking somewhere else, right?
Right, because
Then they
basically it's going along with the project, because that's an issue, because if something does happen and you lose it, now we've got not enough parking for the approved project. And
So is there
That
a
wouldn't
time
work.
limit on the deed, or is it no, it's forever? Okay. It just didn't say, I wasn't sure.
Could you have it extinguishable upon, producing them somewhere else? could the deed, be changed? Somebody was gonna
That would
sell
have to
that
come in front of
property.
The planning board, I would imagine, again, for that approval, right?
So Steve, you could have like an extinguishable easement, right? If they came up with parking somewhere else, they could extinguish it or.
Yeah, I think it would have to come back as some sort of a modification back to the planning board, because the approvals through you, through the planning board, it's on your record. And now if it was going to go to somewhere else, I would think it'd be a modification. It would have to be something.
Is that process written somewhere, Pat, or would that have to be added to this language?
No, it's pretty.
That would be just
site
general
plan.
zoning enforcement and, being awareness of it. Being that this is going to be a relatively new thing, you'd be able to track it pretty soundly project to project. So if there had to been some sort of system where the board were like, oh, this project at Central Square, or this is specific to city parking as well too, so it's a limited amount of sites. You'd be like, all right, this site has parking on this site, so we understand what restrictions are there. So we would be easily able to kind of just maintain a log of where the deed restrictions are based on the limited space that it would be for.
And Steve, it would be done more as an easement, right? Like a parking easement, like deed restriction, parking easement, right?
Yeah, that's where it gets into the questions, because I mean, I know this has been brought up, legally. How do you handle it? And I think it becomes more of an easement, because you're giving the right for somebody to have something on your property.
Anything else? Michael, Mr. McDonald, you good?
Yes, sir. All good here.
Moving on. Page 5. Page 5 is just a grammatical correction. Both of the requirements, we're just changing it to both requirements. All right. Keep moving.
Yep, keep moving.
All right, so then this is the first big change to 9.6.6 on page 7. So this is where we try to make sure that, and Mr. Solari can maybe give some feedback on this, but we got a lot of projects coming in where people are like, oh, we really don't want to do any commercial on the ground floor. We'll do a little bit in the corner and then we'll do podium parking everywhere, right? And that really wasn't the intent. And then we had this language in here that made it confusing. So it said that ground floors must be designed to accommodate commercial use to a depth of at least 20 feet, with a floor to ceiling height of 15 feet. So then that was interpreted different ways too. You had to keep the 15 feet height to a certain degree, then you could drop it down, but it still had to be all commercial. So just talking to council already and getting feedback from the council and talking to Mr. Solari, most towns, and one of the regulations we looked at that came out recently was, I think it was Medford. Did I send you that one, Shane? Medford. It actually had percentages, right? So it said, hey, on the ground floor, you can have 80% commercial, 70% commercial. The rest can be for your parking or your staircases or your elevators or whatever else. So what we did was we added commercial uses must occupy at least 80% of the gross floor area of the ground floor. But I think, Mr. Solari, the thing we missed in just doing this quickly is that we should probably get rid of that commercial depth to 20 feet, right? Because somebody would say, I only have to do 20 feet and 80% of that 20 feet, right? So it's just, we want to do 80% of the ground floor. So we should probably strike
20 feet mark.
that 20 feet and kind of clean that language up a little bit.
Right, because the issues that I was having with a few of the projects coming in was that you had contractors and developers saying that, oh, I'll come in the 20 feet with commercial and then I'll put residential in the back, which I had explained to them that we don't allow residential on the first floor, but they would argue that, well, it says I only need 20 feet of commercial in the front. So it was like going off each other as far as zoning determination.
Right, so what we could say is for all new construction, ground floors must be designed to accommodate commercial uses, right? By maintaining a floor to ceiling height of at least 15 feet. Commercial uses must occupy at least 80% of the gross floor area of the ground floor.
So getting rid of all the depth descriptions. So to a depth of at least 20 feet would be struck.
Because we're
and-
going to a percentage instead of a
Right.
depth.
So you take that.
Yeah. So we're scratching to a depth of at least 20 feet from the front facade and then at least 15 feet within this depth. I think that's.
Well, you can say, we can put a period after
Oh,
feet.
yeah, within this depth would be struck.
Right, so it'd say for all new construction, ground floors must be designed to accommodate commercial uses. And then comma, floor to ceiling height of at least 15 feet is required.
Yeah, by maintaining a floor to ceiling height of at least 15 feet, period.
Well, we can clean that
Mhm.
English up a little bit, but
Yeah, to that effect, I see that.
a lot of towns have percentages. So I think it was Medford that Johnny and I looked at, and it was, in one zone it was 80, next zone it was 60, 50, depending on where it was in the district, because they had different districts like we did within there. And I think just when when 96 Main Street came in, that turned out to be a great project, but they came with so many different versions. One was just a little bit of commercial in front and like all podium parking. And it didn't look nearly as nice as it does now. But I think that took some back and forth to get that done, Mr. Solari, right? Where it could have just been.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
Just do 80% and call it a day.
The only question I had, Pat, and I thought about this afterward, is depending on the square footage of that space itself as far as the business, I mean, 1,000 square foot versus 5,000 square foot, that percentage
They
certainly.
can break it up.
Okay, I just didn't know as far as the ability to put in, say, a stairway or an elevator or whatever, depending on the size of that particular space, how would that come into play?
I would think 20% is enough, 20 to 30%, right?
If you got 1,000 square foot space, now you're dealing with 200 square feet versus a larger space, you're gonna get a lot more space to play with. I just don't know if we need a minimum
Well, larger,
size,
maybe a larger building, they put a gym down in the back or something. You know what I mean? They can use accessory uses.
Just plain devil's advocate on it. I didn't know if we need a minimum or maximum square footage as far as the property or the commercial.
Well,
spaces.
everywhere else in CBDR, we did 70. So if we wanted to, we could change that to 70, but the idea was like, this is right up against the common, so we figured that, that this would be 80.
Yeah, we had that discussion,
Are you concerned that that 20% is going to be too small in some instances?
depending on the size of the space.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was thinking of, because again, and even my own building, I've got smaller spaces, I got larger spaces, but depending on the size of maybe some of the smaller business, square footage that's on, Broad Street or whatever. I'm thinking like where the Mexican restaurant is, that's not a huge commercial space. Versus, the old bowling alley or whatever, just, trying to think of different size commercial situations, how that might play a role on that extra 20%,
Well,
if
I
they're
think-
enough to do what you need
I
to
think
do.
it's going to be at least be 1,000 square feet, because you're going to have at least one unit above, right? So if it's just a strictly commercial building, they don't need to follow this.
And if it is already a small space and then we're taking greater than 20%, that really takes away from the limited space they have to begin with. I think 20 is sufficient.
Still fair.
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there.
We loosen it up in CBDR to 30%. So if they want to do like bigger buildings, want to do gyms and stuff like that, they can. Okay.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Mr. McDonald, any other comments?
No, I would just agree with you, Mr. Driscoll. I think 20% is fine. I mean, I can't imagine a staircase or some kind of access taking up more than 20% of a ground floor. It just seems unrealistic. So
Okay, so then on this next page, number 9, again, this is design standards. This has been very confusing. People don't even know what it means when they come into us. They don't know it doesn't make any sense. And everybody has a different interpretation of village and everything else. So what this said was like the commercial could be built somewhere else. And then it said, but then it also says that no residential units are allowed on the ground floor unless otherwise stated, but it doesn't state that anywhere. So we just made it clear and crossed everything out and said in the CBDS, which is right around downtown, there's no residential on the ground floor and above can be residential. Kind of clean.
Could I ask a question, Pat? Because at the end it says, unless otherwise permitted elsewhere in this section.
That
That was also scratched out.
Right, but
It wasn't permitted.
is it in another session? a section
Well,
of it?
that's kind of why we just cleaned it up, because it really didn't, in the CBDS, there is no way to do residential on the ground floor unless
Okay.
you do this. We have no design standards for this village center, so we just decided just clean it up and say no residential units are allowed on the ground floor, period.
Okay,
Simple.
so unless it says in other sections, there is no other sections that say that
Right, that I could, yeah.
in the zoning, yeah.
And again, this is just CBDS. This is just around the
Okay.
common on Main Street and then down by the Portuguese Club. Okay, moving on. So this is where we really get into the development review process. So this starts to take away the control from the CED department as far as approval. But if Shane was still here, he would have the right, he would still do the checklist for us and still make sure everything was in. And we'd still have a 30-day window to approve stuff. But it would be a planning board approval as opposed to a CED director approval.
Are we on
So-
page 12?
We're on page 12, yeah. And that, one of the things about red line that's difficult, that B should not be crossed off. It's still B. So it just says, you know, the staff shall review the application and the checklist. And then we go down and we say that, once the Department of Community Economic Development staff deems the application complete, staff will schedule a public hearing with the planning board. It used to say a public information meeting. So now it's gonna be a public hearing, just like we have for everything else, not a public information meeting. Next page. Then we change this language to say within 30 days or other agreed upon extension of time by the parties of the opening of the public hearing, the planning board shall render its decision and file the decision with the town clerk. Everything else is gone. It was basically before the Department of Community and Economic Development had that authority. So we went back to the normal planning board.
So I have one thing where you crossed out within 30-day approval period unless extended by agreement of the planning board shall report its comments and findings and recommendations back to the CED department prior to issuing any permit. Why wouldn't you leave that in there as a backup?
Because before they issued the permit, now we're gonna issue the permit, so we don't need to get.
Because you guys are the special permitting?
Yeah,
This is not a special permit, this is just a site plan.
Yeah, but
But-
wouldn't,
but they do the permitting for that.
right, but it says you would get this information back to the CDC before you issue a permit, so it's like a safety check.
So the way this is written, we
Yeah.
don't issue the permit.
Right,
So-
CED was doing the,
Yeah, for
I'm
one
sorry.
minute.
So what we would do is when we've only done this once, so when an application came in, they schedule a public information hearing with us. We have 30 days to get information back to CED department.
Okay,
We just make recommendations with conditions. They don't have to follow them, they don't have to listen to them, they can adopt all of them if they want to. So we reported back to them within 30 days. And then they rendered the final decision. We're gonna keep that all here now. So we're gonna review the project, we're gonna do the decision, we're gonna render the decision all right here, just like we do with every other project.
and so the CD won't have any involvement in it?
Any approval process, no.
Unless you
They'll
want.
review it, just like they do now. They'll give us comments. They'll.
Well, that's what I was wondering, because you're taking that part out, because it says, the planning board shall report its comments and final recommendation back to the CD department.
But they're not,
But you
they're not approving it. We.
No,
put-
but you're telling the CDC what you're doing in recommendation. I just like to see that both departments work together, so I'm not taking anything away, I'm just, that it says that you just, report, you just tell them what you recommend and what you're doing.
Right, but we don't have to do that anymore
Should-
because they're not.
Do you want me to?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so it would just be similar to what we do for site plan review and special permitting. It would be same staffing, same assistants, that we would typically do. It wouldn't be like, you guys are on your own sort of thing. It would be this, we were support staff of the planning board, so it would be the same sort of thing where it would be setting up the public hearing, make sure things are properly noticed. It would be the same situation, I assume.
So because an employee is on the planning board, you feel like you don't have to do this anymore?
He's not on the planning board.
I mean, he's on your planning board meetings.
No, so we're not gonna report back to him. He's gonna report to us now. Like, so, and which he does anyway. So what Mr. Solari and Mr. O'Brien do is they go through the zoning, they go through the plans when they come in, they deem them complete. They'll both write summaries up or emails up, hey, this complies with zoning, it doesn't comply with zoning. They'll send it to us.
Right,
We'll have a public hearing on it now, which didn't happen before. It was a public meeting. And then we'll listen to public input, and then we'll render a decision, and we'll issue the decision letter. Basically, what we were doing before was we'd do all that, we'd give them a decision letter, but it was only a recommendation. So now the power is coming back to the planning board versus the CED department. So we don't need to do that anymore.
yeah,
What-
that's kind of, I'm not sure about that. I would like to see you guys kind of, at least, the information go back to the CDC.
It does. It does go back.
But you said you're just going to keep it all together, you're going to decide, have the public hearing and then vote on it, and they have no.
It
you're
would
taking the
be what
input.
we did
No.
earlier today, like with the A&R and stuff, it would be like the same thing, what
Well,
we're doing.
I think maybe to clarify, so
Sure.
there's a whole section in our zoning
Mhm,
that talks about site plan review.
right,
So site plan review, there's all these things that they have to meet. And we work with Shane on that site plan review. So it's gonna follow the site plan review process now, where it didn't follow the site plan review. So it's a much more thorough review, in my opinion, because it's gonna go to zoning and follow the site plan review process.
all right.
As well as you guys would be responsible for the checklist now too. You
Right.
guys would be,
Well,
The
you-
approving
but
authority.
But what I imagine if you were still here, whoever's here is gonna take all the information and make sure the checklist is.
sure,
complete.
or if you guys did like a 53G or something too, you still have
Right.
that. You could ask for a peer review as well too. So there's different opportunities that doesn't preclude you from it. You guys are just the permit granting authority and you guys get final say as residents.
So Mary, in the.
So right now CDC has the final say?
Absolutely.
They do.
Based
No.
on the way this was written.
But so just one thing, then this may clarify everything we're talking about. So if you go to the back of the packet. What's it, section 10, Shane?
Regarding the
Process.
Site plan review?
It's 45.
All right, so if you go to page 45. See site plan approval?
Yeah,
So you see where we crossed out? Stuff in CBDI was exempt from that.
right,
So it's gonna go back through site plan approval again, which is a more rigorous process than what was before. And it gives the public a say, and it gives the town, it gives the planning board a say.
okay,
Where right now, it's crossed out because this was kind of a made-up process.
yeah,
It was like, the planning board can give us comments, but we're gonna make the decision and we don't have to follow the comments. So we're getting rid of all that and we're saying we're gonna go back to follow site plan review.
okay,
And that's why that's crossed out later on.
all right, thank you.
Does that clear it up a little bit? And if
Yeah,
you- Even if you want to, look at site plan review after tonight, look at
yeah, I will.
And there's standards for larger projects, which this would probably trip, where it talks about landscaping, parking, all that stuff.
I think I'm just at the point where there should be 2 checks, especially where I'm learning about the checks that didn't happen with the water, so I'm just kind of like,
I think this will be,
yeah.
there's
I'll
probably,
check it out.
there's more than 2 checks here, I think.
Yeah.
This protects the town more.
Well, just like the checklist, I think I have, when we get there, I think it should be more than just the planning board and the staff. I think the last person should be able to look at it is the director, because you're leaving the director of the CDC out. So you do the checklist, then it goes to the CDC staff, but you crossed out the director, and I think the director should at least look at it. He should keep it
Well,
included.
The director, I think, would,
I
because.
think it's included
Yeah.
in the staff. I think it was just a broader word instead of.
I'd like to see the director still saying there. Because he's really not, he's staff to the town manager, but he's not staff as I'd like to see director still
So
say there.
the director and the planner and everybody, they're involved in every project anyway.
Yeah,
So
we
they,
Right.
work for the town.
yeah.
But I mean, there's some words I think that just should be left there so we know that it is. That's, I mean, I'm not voting on it.
I
so,
would
but,
say that it's codified in town code what the responsibilities of the department is.
Well, and the other thing you have to remember, if you remember early on, and I don't know if you're on, but when this got passed, they tried to set up a committee
Mhm.
with Mr., the CED director, with a few other people, and Attorney Rollins ruled that they couldn't serve on a committee as a non-resident. So that's why it was changed. So this was kind of a made-up process that's like, all right, the town's gonna sign off on it. Planning board can only give a recommendation. So there's a lot less checks right now.
Yeah.
Right? So this tightens it up where it's a public hearing. The planning board works with the CED staff. The planning board renders a decision. The public gets to weigh in. None of that happened before.
Right. I was just wondering why you were taking that out, but I see it now.
All right, going down. Waiver, oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mr. McDonald.
Mr. Driscoll, if I may, the 30-day time period, is there a reason we have it set at 30? It seems a little short. Like
Well,
maybe
I think-
60 would be.
I think that's the expedited permitting. So if they do the checklist is pretty rigorous. So if they go through the whole checklist process, the idea is to still keep the idea is to keep the
Expedited
the
process
form-based
intact.
code intact to some degree, and to still have the expedited permitting.
Yeah, the intent of
But
the,
everything needs to be in,
correct.
and they need to comply.
Gotcha. My other concern is sometimes we only meet once a month, so the 30 days, that could just be like one meeting. Whereas
It
if you,
does say as well that, or other agreed upon extension of time by the parties, so it doesn't limit you just to 30 days.
well, that requires the other party to agree to the extension. Is the only issue. So if somebody was trying to force
I
a
mean, I
project,
think we're trying to
we
keep
could not
it.
agree to it.
We can, I don't care what we change. I'm just trying to, if you want to, we can talk about changes. But I think we're trying to keep the expedited permitting.
And I have no issue with that. I just some months we only have one meeting, so one meeting for even an expedited project seems a little short to me. If you bump it up to 2 months, you're gonna get at least probably 3 looks at it instead of just potentially 1. So that's my only concern.
Any other thoughts on that? Leave it for now and come back?
I can say we can leave it now. Again, I think the other language kind of gives you the buffer if you needed to extend that 30-day time, that if both sides, if the planning board and the potential petitioner agree to 45 days or 60 days, I
mean,
think that could
at
be
the end of the day-
discussed
at the end of the
and
day,
made.
At the end of the day, if we don't have all the information,
No, you can't make a decision.
we're
Right.
not gonna,
Right.
we're not gonna make a decision. So the developer would risk at that point getting a denial. Right?
And
So-
ultimately, the sense of this whole thing, as you mentioned, was to expedite the process. So with the checklist in place, and again, what they tried to set up with the chair of the CED, was to, again, to try and create a more expedited process to get these projects moving. So reverse course, putting the, power back with the planning board to review, but still trying to keep the expedited process of 30 days, at least trying to keep that going, I think finds a balance between the two.
I just think if the planning board's forced to make a decision potentially within one meeting, and we have to make a no decision because we don't have enough information or time to evaluate that information, you could be slowing the process down instead of expediting it.
Quite frankly, it doesn't start until the checklist is in. The checklist is the longest part of the application. So if it's 30 days from the checklist, I would believe we'd have more than enough time.
I don't think I'll ever believe a single meeting is going to be enough time, even for something with the checklist. But I mean,
Well, I think the reason we left it there, Michael, is that that's all we had before, and we had no authority. So now at least we have authority, approval authority. The town, whoever sits in these seats, town residents, as opposed to a director solely. So I think that I'm open to it, but I think if we're trying to keep it attractive for developers, we tell them, hey, you do all these things and you get everything in, it's expedited. But we do have that language, like Dr. Perry said, or agreed upon time. So
absolutely. I think the whole thing is a vast improvement. I'm just trying to think practically, for example, next month, I believe we only have one meeting. So if, a project were to come before us and we have 30 days to review it, we're going to even, checklist, expedite, all that stuff. One meeting to review probably a large scale project, which I believe is what we're aiming to attract. It just doesn't seem particularly realistic to me. But again, it's still an improvement. I'm not opposed to it, but I just think that could probably be adjusted.
Well, there is language to be able to
Yeah,
extend
extend
it.
it.
I would agree. Should I continue or anything else?
That's it for me. Thank you.
All right, so then this is, again, this got crossed out, but Shane, you gotta go back. We have we have 3 more things on that page. Right, so again, these like Ds and Cs are getting screwed up, so I cleaned them up on another version, which we can look at later, but.
It should be D.
But, so variances can only be determined by the building commissioner, so we just corrected that, so it's legally correct.
Mhm.
And then it says the application may be conditionally approved by the planning board, because we're gonna be the approval authority if this passes, not the staff. Then we move down to 9.8.4.3, number 2. It says all plans and drawings submitted to the staff and the Bridgewater Planning Board. So we are including staff and everything as part of the review process. Waivers, again, we'll determine the waivers, not Department of Community and Economic Development. Planning Board will. Moving on.
Can I ask you a question, Pat? Because the Boarding of Appeals, they do just variances or do they do waivers too?
No, waivers we would do.
You waive,
ZBA
so it's
would-
Board of Appeals that just does variances? Okay.
We can't do variances.
Yeah, I'm just wondering.
So now we kind of get into the sub-districts in CBDR. So on page 17, you'll see the beginning of 9.8.6.3. And this must have come from somewhere else. It's just a cut and paste issue, obviously. So this talks about the mixed use zone, but then it refers to the village center frontage, which we never had. So we're just making that consistent with mixed use zone is mixed use zone. Does that make sense? Okay, so then we get into the tables. And the first change on this is in table 3, use and elements. This says commercial ground floor activation minimum. This is what we talked about, how much of the ground floor should be commercial. In this zone, we pegged 70% as a good number. Meeting with Mr. Greenberg and Dr. Perry, we decided that language should probably be a little clearer, because activation we're trying to make things as clear as possible. So in another, when we clean that up, we should have that say commercial, we changed that to,
Commercial ground floor area.
yeah, commercial floor / footprint. Commercial requirement, minimum 70%. So we should probably clean that up to say ground floor footprint, commercial requirement, minimum 70%. So that needs a little cleanup, but that's what we're trying to get to. And then above it, the one thing that we didn't change, so a commercial ground story space depth, that should be removed because we're going to a percentage instead of feet. So that is not in the red line version, but that's something that if we're going to add below, that was an oversight, we should correct, Mr. Solari. If we're going to go percentage versus feet, we want to get rid of the feet, correct?
Correct. You either want to have one or the other, and the 70% is a lot easier for determination.
Okay,
All right.
crossing that.
And then, massing and height, because if you go further along into this, on the next page, you'll see that there was a footnote where we allowed up to 16,000 square foot footprint buildings, which is, they're huge buildings. So based on public feedback, talking to former councils, we got rid of the massive buildings. So in doing that, we talked about changing the building width max from 200 feet to 100 feet. So there's a question mark there, but that 200 feet should be crossed out and that should be 100 feet. And then building height, again, we want to go to, well, I shouldn't say we want to, we talked about going from 3.5 stories from 4. But we're keeping the building footprint at 6,000 square feet. So we would have to clean this up a little bit and remove that commercial depth, clean up that commercial ground floor activation, and then accept that 100 feet change.
And again, I just point out, Pat, that to refer to the map on page 47 that highlights the mixed-use frontage area of that CBDR, that's what this particular chart is referring to.
Yeah. The red.
The rest of
dark.
the cranberry coloration, that's those sections of Broad Street and the corner of Broad into Central Square. That's where these particular applications would apply to.
Yeah.
Just for the rest of the subcommittee to understand.
So then, moving down to the next page, are you back, Shane? 9.8.6.4. Oh, so you guys saw that we crossed out the 16,000 square feet.
Yep.
Okay, so then 9.8.6.4. Again, so this, when you look at this document, the things in bold are supposed to have definitions in the back. So this had no definition. So nobody had any idea what convertible ground story meant, right? Like, what does it mean? What is it? Because there's no definition. So again, we kind of just cleaned this up and we just said this frontage requires commercial activation along the frontage. That doesn't seem like, no, we got rid of that, right? We crossed it out. So shall be designed to accommodate active commercial uses along the ground floor, street frontage, consistent with the applicable standards of this section. So we cleaned that up. So, because nobody knew what convertible space was and there's no definition. And again, that one should stay. Then this is, again, as Dr. Perry stated in the back, this is transitional frontage, so it's a different color code. So again, what we need to do is cross out the ground story space depth. And we would look to adopt the commercial ground floor activation, but we'd change that language a little bit to make it clear, and that would be 70%. Building would go from 200 feet to 100 feet. Stories would go from 4 to 3.5. And then the footnotes allowing for these huge buildings on the next page would be removed. So the max building size in that zone would be the 6,000 square feet again.
And again, I just add this section includes where Campus Plaza is. So that was the discussion on the really large building situation, building 4 to 5 stories in the back of that. So that would not be the case at this point.
And so the changes we'll make, we'll keep it more village style, you know.
Village style.
Okay, so design standards, again, this is just cleanup because commercial uses are required on the ground floor, but then, again, this is probably like a cut and paste from another zone where it talks about residential units on the first floor and being, so that just confused things, so we just got rid of it. Next one here. So next one here, we should, so This one missed, this one did not have the commercial ground story depth space in here. So we added both just for discussion, so I think if we're gonna be consistent with the other two, we wanna get rid of that one that we added above the 30 feet and just keep the 70%.
Mhm.
The one thing we missed on this one was building width.
Mm.
We didn't change that, that stayed at 150. I can't remember if we talked about it or not, but if we want to be consistent with the other zones, we probably want to change that to 100. That wasn't redlined.
Yeah. And I would say to that, because a lot of those, that area is along Spring Street, Hale Street, a lot of the side streets, so
Yeah, and
150 width would be
and they're
very, very
small, and
wide.
they're smaller buildings, they're 3,500 square feet, so they're really like villagey type. And again, we're getting rid of the 4 stories and going to 3.5. And again, we get rid of the footnotes that allow for the massive buildings out back. All right, and then that's just about it.
I think there was something in the back. Just page 45,
Okay,
left.
yeah,
Pat.
so 45, just to be consistent. We, we crossed out the exception, so now everything, it'll follow site plan review. So Mayor, if you want to look at the site plan review and how staff interacts with the board and how it's a public hearing, you can go through the site plan review section and see, because it's pretty detailed. It's in our zoning, yeah. Site plan review. So then Shane, if you can bring up, so what council already did was he did that original summary, which was a great first attempt. And then after Dr. Perry, myself, and Mr. Greenberg met last Thursday, I found a few small errors in this. Can you go to the red line version, Shane?
The one you just sent out today, Mr. Chair?
No, the one, I sent out a red line
Yeah, I got the red line summary.
summary, and then I sent out a clean summary.
I think that was. That's what I have for a red line summary. I think it's,
No, you titled them wrong in the packet.
how did I color them?
You titled the red line, the clean, and the clean, the red line.
There we go.
There, I didn't want to call you out, but it's the only way we could find it.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair.
So this, what I tried to do was, and I'm not great with redline and this stuff, so I actually had to call on a consultant to help me redline this the first time. But this is everything that we just went over. So some of the fonts are off, and that number 2 right there should be a number 3. So I cleaned it up in the next version, but this was a summary of everything that we just went over, which Mr. O'Brien can get out to all the counselors and whatnot. I sent it to Dr. Perry to review.
It was sent out today, so I think of the
But Shane, go back up. So I didn't go to the tables. Did I get rid of the depth? Yeah, so we have to clean this up a little bit and
Get rid of the depth.
get rid of the depth. So if you go to the clean version now, which is marked as red line, right?
Yep. Just move.
So this is where I took all the red lines that we just talked about, but then I cleaned up a few things. So if you go down, Shane, a little bit, I go up, first page. So I added Dr. Perry's note. Can you get to that footnote? I acted Dr. Perry's note that projects in the CBDS and CBDR fronting on Main Street shall maintain a minimum setback of the existing structure or 20 feet. So that is something that's not in the original red line, but I added to this. So then Shane, if you go down, there was an error in the red line. where it said where it was 6.14, I had labeled this 2, so I corrected that to 3. Keep going, Shane. Go to the tables now. So the tables, you know, I changed the language there a little bit, so it says commercial ground floor / footprint commercial area, 70%. So if we want to keep that, then we'd have to strike out the depth. And then everything else is pretty much what we went over. It just would have to strike those out. So I know some people haven't seen the summary. I think Shane sent it out to the planning board. We just did it for Monday. But I imagine we'd come up with a clean version and send that back to the council as our recommendation. Right? Because I think everything that he proposed is good. Yep. Few tweaks. But I think the issue is the summary doesn't capture everything that he did.
Yeah, no, again, everything we discussed, I think it's close. I think you just got to make the tweaks on the charts and I think today.
So it is a public hearing though, so what, do you want to do public comment now? Or do you want to talk some more or do public comment then talk some
I've
more?
just been gabbing too much. So. It's fine to hear what the public wants to say. It's fine with me.
So if you'd like to speak on this, is there anybody remote, Shane?
We have Adeline Ellenberg with her hand raised.
Sure.
Hello?
Hello.
I wanted to know if water impact studies are part of the total protocol. I didn't see reference to that. Does that fall within the planning board purview?
Is that in the checklist, Shane?
I don't believe there's been any the only place that I think in the zoning ordinance that references the water impact study is in the senior housing village ordinance. I know that we talk about it in performance standards of larger projects that the board can look into water quality and quantity as an option. So that's typically codified through the performance standards that gives the planning board the option to look at infrastructure impacts, but not necessarily spell out what the water impact process is.
Well, you said it gives them the option to investigate. I would respectfully request the planning board make it a requirement of the entire approval process, considering our water situation, please.
We have an ordinance right now we're working on, and we're probably going to implement that water impact. That statement will come to the planning board and to the CDC. I think Sean Kennedy has it in rules and procedures.
And is it making it a requirement?
I don't know what she's saying.
Is it making it a requirement? A required item?
It's going to be a requirement that we get water impacts and it gets sent to the planning board and to the town councils if it's amended and it goes approved by the town council.
Okay, I'll wait until I see that article. Okay. But you folks wouldn't want to codify that in your document?
I mean, the only way we could do that is, and it's not before us right now, it's a separate section, is the checklist. We could do a separate ordinance to update the checklist and just make a checklist item could be a water impact form if we decided to, but I think
that would be a very good ordinance. Okay, and so would you folks do it or you need the council to do it?
well, is the checklist is nowhere in Johnny's red line version, correct?
Correct. You would have to specify amending that section.
Is it?
So if it was notified as part of that section, then you could hypothetically provide that as a recommendation.
So Council Ellenberg, maybe a better, if you're trying to
Make it a requirement?
Maybe a better ordinance is for all projects you require a water impact study instead of just downtown. I agree with that.
Okay, so you think that it's something the council should take up for the whole town?
Well, you could make it as part of the site plan approval process or the subdivision approval process, say that anybody going for a subdivision approval or site plan has to do a water impact study.
That would make more sense.
Because this is just downtown. If you want to go town-wide, you might as well just do it all at once.
I agree. Why restrict it to one area when it really
Right.
should be taken into account
right,
everywhere on all
understand.
projects?
But again, this is only
Okay.
applying to CEDs.
Respectfully, may I work with your board to bring such a thing forward to the council?
Yeah, I would say it, Counselor Kennedy is working on that. So if you want to contact Counselor Kennedy and talk with him about what he's putting in together, you can see if that's going to answer the questions that you're looking to have answered.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Perry.
Okay, any other public comments?
Let me check in the chat. I
I think
don't.
we have
s-
Mrs. Hanson that wants to come up.
Sure. Didn't see any virtual hands raised, but I guess we'll do some real ones.
Carlton should have gone first. Janet Hanson, Pleasant Street. Just quick things. Is this going to be visible on the website, the piece that you just all discussed, the red line and anything? Is that going to be on the website for the public to see?
Yeah,
Can
it
you-
can be
can-
placed, what you guys provided can be
Okay,
placed on the
And if
website.
that's
Yeah.
the case, please tell us how to find it on the website.
So Shane, can you put, is any of this, I saw it's in our folder. but
Yeah.
But can the
But
public
that's-
access it?
Yeah, I'd have to look to update our website to incorporate
It's
this.
not easy to find anything on the planning board.
And the other thing I'll just mention is once it does come back to the council, a copy will be within the packet of the council, so it'll appear.
Yes.
when that
but
comes
it's
up.
not with the planning board, but just to find, so a good, because it would be very helpful if we could see it and then we can comment
Yeah.
and then have a basis. And why is it that the 70% of commercial, that's for the CBDR? Is that my understanding? And the 80% is for the CBDS?
Correct.
Why don't you just make it 80 for both? Why does it have to be, I don't understand why it has to be different depending on SNR. Is there a reason
And
that I'd
You
miss?
know, and I don't, when we looked at other towns and how they did it, and there's really no
Well,
reason for it,
that's-
other than giving maybe giving bigger projects more flexibility, so they can have like gyms and things like that on the first floor as well. I mean, that's
Well,
probably.
that's
the only-
commercial, isn't it? I mean, just,
I was going to say something similar, Pat, is the CBDR is a more encompassing area of the commercial area of the CBD, where that CBDS is more your main street, your distal end, where it's a little bit more residential further down Broad Street. So I believe the flexibility of that 70% would apply to the larger scope projects that are in that
we're
downtown.
not having residential on the first floor, so.
No, I'm just saying, like, say the residential sections of Main Street where there's commercial mixed in, that's the CBDS. And then the distal end of Broad Street where there's some more residential mixed in with business down that, and not the pure commercial section that
Eh.
CBDR is.
Make it easier, put it all at 80%.
Well, the other reason I thought it might be good is when down on Broad Street, like CBDR is probably gonna be more newer buildings, right? And they may want to put parking in the back for,
Okay,
number.
so that's included all in that.
it wouldn't be included in the 70, but they could do that in the 30.
Okay. I am very happy to hear planning board getting, I'm going to use the word more control, be the final say and not CED. That was issues and we needed to get back to the planning board to do what they are know what to do. CED should not have the final say. And I am for having water impact studies for the entire town, which has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but I am going to put my 2 cents on that. And the parking easement, you're talking about having it in writing, and I think it should be in writing, and so there's no question, it can't just say, well, it's a given, they know if they switch hands or whatever. It needs to be in writing, make it
So we
easier.
actually say it has to be deed restricted, so they have to record
Okay.
it in the registry of deeds.
Okay, so that was a little confusing conversation, so I wasn't sure, but it needs to be in writing. So I'm looking for it, but I'm glad that the planning board will have more control, better control, and not the way it was. So that's all I have to say for right now. Thank you.
Shane, can you bring up, just why Mrs. Jewell has come up, can you bring the version that I put up there with the colors on it today? There was like a, hey,
The one with the
just
color.
why,
Me.
Mrs. Jewell, you can go. You're all set.
Okay. Donna Jewell, 50 Keith Place. First, I want to thank you for all the hard work the planning board did and the ad hoc committee did on this. I think it was definitely needed, and I have a lot of respect for all the time and effort that went into these changes. I highly support having the authority return to the planning board on this project, on this process, rather. I think it's critical, and we can't afford to have a repeat of what happened with the Friendlies project. I followed that. I've been visible at the town meetings and talked about that. But to see a letter come from the planning board with 20 recommendations, and that was the word that had to be used, recommendations, because they did not have authority to mandate anything, and only a handful of them implemented in the final process, was, as a resident, just unacceptable. Unacceptable. So I hope that this passes and that the authority is remanded to the planning board. I would like to just support Mr. McDonald's comment of the change to a greater length of time than 30 days. I think 45 days might be more realistic. And my reason for saying that is with the cutback in the staffing hours in the town offices, you're going to be scrunching down their time to, even less. And I think it's important for them to be able to have the necessary time to review it. So I would like to see that really seriously considered. I know we want to have an expedited permitting process. That's important for a developer in these areas. But I think another 15 days isn't going to hurt and will let us do a much better job on that. And to Councilor Ellenberg's point about the water impact study, if there's a way to put it in here, I think it would just be an extra step of insurance to make sure it's on the checklist. And in case something happens somewhere down the road in the other process with any other ordinances or anything that go before the town council, and that doesn't become whatever Councilor Kennedy is putting forth, have it here so that it's there. We're in a crisis. And hopefully we'll be out of that water crisis at some point in time. But it's just an extra step of insurance. And again, thank you for all your hard work.
Do we let him speak?
I guess you can.
We have filed disclosure agreements with the town clerk's office.
Put it up so you're closer to the mic.
We have filed disclosures at the town clerk's office. I only have one point. I agree with what's been said. I really like all the changes. I super like the change that the planning board has control now, and that the good support that the department has given is really included. So I really appreciate that. As to the 30-day thing, another potential option is right in, it's 30 days, but the planning board has the option to extend it X, Y days. So that's just another option to give you flexibility. And that's really the only comment I say. Thank you for the details. It's mind-boggling how much details you guys have to deal with. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right. I don't see anyone else with a virtual hand raised nor their actual hand raised, Mr. Chair.
So you can't bring up the one with the nice colors that I sent over to you.
You
today,
sent
can
me like 3, Pat, and
I color coded one to make it easy.
color coded. That's the one you writ the comments in crayons,
My colors
right?
don't make any sense. Green means remove, which should be red. but- It's my system.
Let me just make sure I get the right one. I wouldn't want to upset you.
But I guess my question is at some point we have to send this back to the council, right? So are we better off just to stick with the original and just clean this up and send the whole thing back? Or is it better off to send back a summary?
I think to be more clarifying to the rest of the council, I think the summary to highlight all the changes that have been made, and then a final version that incorporates all those changes so people can see it
So-
would probably be
so-
the best
so-
way to go.
So take what everybody has that council already started with and make that accurate, cleaned out,
Correct.
and then do a summary.
I
But
think
what
that-
you guys will actually act on would be the red line version.
Yeah, yeah, because I think the council likes to see the red lines, what's been taken out, what's been added. And then you can highlight separately, like you did, the particular changes, that went along with it. If anyone needs clarification as far as, language or whatever, if it wasn't clear within the context of the existing document with all the lines and stuff like that.
I think we'd take the one that was redlined, present it, and then make it the real deal.
Yeah,
Right.
but I think what we have to do is clean up this red line.
Clean it,
to
right.
reflect-
Right, exactly.
Yes,
To
yes,
reflect what
yes,
we talked, because
yes.
like I said, when I did this red line with Johnny, some things need to be corrected, like ones get changed to two.
Correct.
We have to
Yes.
make sure that's perfect because it's gonna be adopted that way.
Yeah, if it is adopted and
Yeah,
voted.
it's got to be accurate. And again, the council likes to see the red line version and in prior,
So the full
pieces
red, the
of.
full red line version.
Right.
All right.
Correct. I would agree with that.
So should we, based on this conversation tonight, clean this up
Yes,
fully and then meet again to vote on it?
I think I think we've had a discussion about what we want to see. A couple other comments are made, so we should probably have a final draft of the red line version, come back, vote on that to send back to council.
agreed.
And then in the meantime, people. could-
I don't think we need public session would be ended all the feedback we've gotten, so it's just a formality of a vote from both bodies to get it back to the council.
But I don't mind working on the full one, going back to it and cleaning it up.
And if we
then
wanna
then
meet
we
to
can
go
cir-
over it
then we can
again,
circulate it again.
in advance.
But the question is do we want to meet, instead of, we're not going to meet again until July 15th. So do we want to meet like in a week?
If you can do it by then,
What,
if you can have it.
what's 2 weeks from now? Is that still June?
2 weeks, I'm on vacation.
Are people available next?
Anybody else available or on vacation?
Are people available next Wednesday?
I'll be available. I just like to point out this is why I have an issue with the 30 days.
And we'll have this be the only agenda item. It won't be long.
Yeah, I
that's all.
think it's a good idea to go over it before we present it to the council, especially we can make sure that we know everything we're talking about.
Do we have to advertise the joint meeting? No. Okay.
No, you just would have to post it and we would just have to, you guys would probably have to, based on a continuance, agree to a date tonight. Yeah, so if we were to if the planning board were to continue this to their next meeting, then it would be July 15th. That's
I
their
see.
regularly scheduled. And so you guys would have to schedule a
Why
special
don't we
meeting.
do it in a week?
Shoot for next week, as long as we can have people here to vote on it.
6:30 again is fine by me.
It would be short,
Yeah,
right? We're
yeah.
Just
Yep.
taking a look at that.
Do you want it in person, hybrid,
Yeah.
Zoom?
Well, what do you want to do here? Or?
I'd rather do it here. I think it's easier to
Yeah.
Works for
understand
me.
stuff. And with the slide up there.
CPC meets that night, but not until 6:30.
CPC has a meeting at 6:30.
Just because I know.
You could
Pat's on it.
hypothetically
You
meet
need me?
in 201A
I can be late to CPC?
or online.
We can hold off as long as your meeting's very short, but we, excuse me,
Could we do it? Could we do it at 6 and then CBC starts at 6:30? It shouldn't take us more than,
it's only gonna be the only thing. It's
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's all right.
Right.
Six?
Could we get a copy, Pat, before the meeting?
What's that?
Could I get a copy of that before the
Oh,
meeting?
I'll try to have it to everybody by Friday.
Oh, okay. Well, you work faster than we do.
But, well, give me the weekend, right?
Sure.
I'll try to get it done.
No, even the day
So
before.
we
I'm
can shoot
used
to
to
meet
it.
at 6 and then
I'll
that won't
try-
interrupt
yeah.
CPC.
Friday's a holiday. I'll be in my office anyway. I can probably get it done Friday.
May I make
Okay.
a suggestion? I can ask the chair of the CPC to start our meeting at 7.
No, we'll do this at 6. So, is this 6
And
right?
we'll start, yeah. Okay, I just wanted to.
Are we
talk
meeting
about
here anyway?
that. We
we
got-
we can reserve it.
No.
No, CPC.
Oh, it's CBC.
You can be online, as long as you can drive over to your office. No, thank you.
Okay, so here at 6 o'clock in a week.
So what we can do is I can take what we talked about tonight and make that full packet red line.
Mhm.
And then we'll do a red line, a clean copy,
Yeah,
and we'll circulate that by the weekend. and then we'll meet Wednesday.
And vote on the changes, okay? If there's any other final edits or things like that, or anyone else who wants to make any
That should
particular
give us enough
changes.
time to get it on the agenda for the next
For
council
the
meeting,
first one in
for the
July.
For the
Yeah.
July council meeting,
Yeah.
which we may have two.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll
Yeah.
end up with two, but at least we'll have one.
Check with Deb on that, but I think timing wise, we should be okay.
Yeah, and we'll have time to get it on the first one.
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan.
Anything else from our committee
We
that
have to
you
officially
need?
Close the public hearing on the
Well,
situation.
hold on 1 second, hold
Oh.
on. Shane, do you want to talk about open space, or should we hold off on that?
In terms of public, what do you mean? In terms of scheduling
Oh,
or?
scheduling, yeah. So we can schedule that with them later.
On the Wednesday?
No, we have open space. At some point, we want to talk about doing a zoning change,
Oh,
which we can work with. It's that we have three conflicting definitions.
Do you want to do it on the Wednesday when we meet?
that's what I was gonna say.
No,
Is
I
it
don't-
too
You
complicated?
can put it on
that
the
would-
agenda.
I don't think, well,
This is completely up to y'all.
you're still here next Wednesday?
Yes, I'll be here next Wednesday, yeah.
All right, let's also just put the open space discussion on there too.
Yeah, whatever you guys want to do.
Then I think Dr. Hunt provided some open space stuff.
Do we need that open space stuff too?
Yeah,
That's okay. I can get it.
It's from the CPC presentation.
I'll get it from Carlton and get
You want to
it.
give me one back?
I hope you can get it.
Oh,
Your husband only gave enough for our committee.
I have the presentation.
you have it?
Yeah, because it's included in the presentation.
Pat, does legislation need to be made to make these changes for open space, or is this just
I
a beginning of a
think-
discussion?
I think we will. but
You
we
would just
gotta have a
look to
discussion.
workshop it. I
Okay.
think what occurred was last year, there was a discussion based around, it was originally a percentage about open space in our senior housing village district. And I think as further as we had the longer conversation, it wasn't more so a conversation about the percentage, but more so a conversation of what our current definition of open space is, and the fact that stormwater entities, and I don't know if it was wetlands, can also, I don't think wetlands are included, but people could use drainage structures as part of their open space. So there were concerns about a preliminary design of a project that showed a portion of their site as open space, but essentially were drainage basins.
Right, gotcha. That's kind of defies open space.
All right, so is there any more public comment early? There's no discussion. Is there a planning board motion to continue the joint public hearing to, what's that date? When, the
June 24th.
June 24th at 6?
Again, just to clarify, Pat, are we continuing the open hearing? Do we close the public hearing just so then we'll take a vote on the amended version? Are we looking for more feedback at the next meeting?
The question, we could close the public hearing and then just vote on the document.
That's probably the
Probably make it
direction I
quicker.
would go.
Is that how you want to handle it?
I would probably close the hearing tonight as far as public comment goes.
All right.
And then just our meeting next time is to review the changes and vote on the red line version there.
Do we take separate votes or do we just take one vote? So,
If it's just a joint committee, do we still get public input at the beginning and the end? Public comments?
Not if we close the public hearing.
final copy that we can vote on to pass on to the town council. This is the opportunity, the hearing.
So if we want to allow public comment on the final version, then we should keep the public hearing open. If we don't, we close it.
Yeah, I would like to have public comment. I mean, that's the feedback I always get from residents, and especially if we're going to be doing open space. I mean, it's not a big audience, but,
No, what we can do is we can
Yeah.
open up public comment right away, and if there's no public comment right away, close it.
okay.
Right.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, it's the same thing I said the other week. I mean, what's the utility? What are we going
That's
to do?
fine.
Save 30
I'm
seconds?
not
you
going
know?
to change anything other than what we discussed tonight, so that there shouldn't be any changes.
Yep, just have a public comment period at the beginning.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So do we have a motion to continue on the planning board side, the joint public hearing to 6 o'clock on Wednesday, June 24th here in person?
Motion.
Mr. Praddy, do a second?
Second.
Mr. Greenberg, any discussion? I'll take the roll. Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mr. Praddy?
Yes.
Mr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Fabrowski?
Yes.
And I'm a yes.
Okay, for the council CEDC, do we have a motion?
Motion to continue to the next Wednesday, to continue this hearing.
Second.
And so all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're all set.
All right, so you guys can, we're gonna
Yep.
continue.
We
on?
can go.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you very much.
If you want to.
Second.
Adjourn?
I
Oh,
just
yeah,
made a
we should
motion to
adjourn.
adjourn. She just made a second.
Second.
There's only three of us. Yeah. Okay, so who all wants to adjourn? 1, 2, 3?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so item 6,
Well, we should
Oh.
mention item 5.
well, we can come back. I'll bump to 6 first, so. So we have a site plan review, extension of time, 0 Plymouth Street by Troy Built LLC. Decision was approved on August 2nd, 2024. What do we, 2-year extension we're looking for?
I believe so. Was it 2 years? Yes, 2 years.
But, all right, so, and this, you're fine with it?
Yeah, I don't have an issue with the letter that was provided. They provided the proper application fees. The property, of course, at the corner of Plymouth and Mill Street. So,
So we go to, August 2nd, 2028, right?
that's correct, yes.
Is there any board discussion on that?
None here.
No. Mr. McDonald?
No, nothing for me.
So is there, anybody want to make a motion?
I'll move to approve the extension.
To August 2nd, 2028?
Yes, sir.
Second.
The motion by Mr. McDonald, second by Mr. Praddy. I'll take the roll. Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mr. Praddy?
Yes.
Mr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Fabrowski?
Yes.
Thank you. So you'll,
Yeah, I'll write a letter.
all right, item 5, I'll bump back up. So we have a minor modification request and determination for 680 Bedford Street. This was approved on November 20th, 2024. They asked for an extension, Shane?
Yes, they requested they requested a continuance. Sorry, we were all trying to think of the word. Continuance to the July meeting, July 15th meeting.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Mr. Praddy.
I'll
Do we have a
second.
Second by Mr. Greenberg. Anybody else? Discussion? Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mr. Praddy?
Yes.
Mr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Fabrowski?
I'm going to recuse on that one.
Okay. Cheers. All right, item 7. So we received 3 street acceptances. It's all for, basically one subdivision off of Cherry Street or Walnut Street, Shane? Cherry?
You have a pretty much Stonemore's off Cherry Street, so I'll pull up the plans.
It's for Stonewall Place, Quail Run Road, and Oldfield Road. But I haven't seen anything from engineering or DPW.
I was gonna say.
No, I don't know if they initially provided comments to, so the way that the street acceptance bylaw or ordinance reads that initially when these come about, they are distributed to all the other departments. So I had a brief conversation with the town engineer today. He kind of relayed there wasn't any issues that he saw. But if the board needs that information or is looking from the council clerk, if any comments were received, I'm happy to provide that as well too, but I didn't see any issues on.
Typically, we get what comments from water department.
Highway.
They look at water gates, they look at everything. I'd feel better if we just
No
had
question.
a record of the inspection.
Yeah, that's,
Wouldn't be done by Mr. Zanzi on that, no?
it wouldn't just be him.
Be-
He's not all of the DPW.
But typically, we get pretty thorough reviews of drainage basins, what needs to be.
I
mowed.
can reach out to the council clerk to see if they receive them. Like I said, through that process, you guys are like step 5 or 6 where it goes to planning board for recommendation and then you guys provide your recommendation to council.
I mean, they do a good job, but I have no idea if there's any issues. I haven't been out.
Sure, we can definitely look into or I can reach out to DPW and Deb and see if there was any issues.
And when was the last time they did an inspection? Do we know?
Oh, I have no clue.
Is there like a decision on this subdivision with like,
Yeah, this is part of the Oldfield one. So we did release, this is the one that the board released the,
Have you reviewed the decision letter, see if everything's closed out?
well, you guys released the bond monies, I believe, what wasn't it? July of last year for these streets. So I think you guys pretty much closed out all of Oldfield one.
Typically we get a thing saying, hey,
I'm fine if the board feels comfortable.
Day, we used to go out, street acceptance.
If you guys want to go out in between, or I can reach out to Deb if there's some questions.
I'd like to see that.
I'd like to see the conditions of the decision, just
Sure.
that we had gone through it, yeah.
Absolutely.
That's fine.
And then the final review, like, we should get a report from DPW.
Sure. I don't disagree.
You said the bond has already been released, though?
Correct. You guys, yeah,
They did all the work, they planned it all, I think we're holding a few grand for tree replacement.
I think there was a couple things or something.
Yeah, still a hope, but we should make sure that stuff.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, you don't want to
Yeah.
leave anything hanging. So if the board feels comfortable, we can push this off to July 15th.
Okay. And that's just board business, so we don't need a motion for that, right?
No, because it is a recommendation, so I would request that you guys continue them. So at least I
Alright.
could provide an update
All
to,
right, so do we get a motion on the three orders before us for Stonemore, Quail Run, and Oldfield Road for, continue to July 15th?
So moved.
I'll second.
By Mr. Praddy, second by Mr. Greenberg. Any discussion? Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mr. Praddy?
Yes.
Mr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Fabrowski?
Yes.
I'm a yes, okay. All right, any minutes, Shane?
I don't have any, no.
Yeah, I video, so.
But I'll produce another transcript. I know there were some concerns that came from a town manager meeting at the library about draft minutes. But we do have all these minutes in a transcript format via Zoom. So you guys have them, and I can throw them on the website if it need be. It wouldn't be official minutes. It would just be like draft transcripts of these meetings that are just recordings of what we're saying anyways.
So for the July 15th meeting, I'll connect with you about, like, getting me the draft decision in a Word form, so if we make changes, we can make the changes. Like for the neighborhoods we have before us now, because you're not gonna be here on the 15th for the meeting.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
So I'll connect with you, but what do we have on the next meeting? We have Moxie Way.
You have, for items on the next meeting. Yeah, you have Moxie Way. I believe 1010 Elm, did they request? No, they requested to, no, yeah, it was 1010 Elm requested to the July meeting. And then, yeah, South Street continued from this meeting. And then 594 Plymouth, they pushed out way to August.
Yeah,
So I
that's
think
like-
those are
But we haven't heard anything from them, right?
for,
The Barty group?
no, but they have until like,
August.
they requested a continuance at the last meeting to August, so they have an opportunity for a couple months to get something to you guys.
Yeah, so maybe before you leave, we'll just get that, we'll connect, we'll get that.
Yeah, we
agenda
can have
posted,
conversations
get that
about it.
agenda squared away. What's floating out there? All right. Any other planners reports? I know you sent the planners report out earlier.
No, not anymore. After you guys made a special meeting next week. No, all good.
It wasn't.
No updates for you guys.
All right, do we have a motion to adjourn then?
A public comment.
Oh,
If I could, Mr. Chair, before that,
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to recognize Shane for all his contributions to the planning board, all his hard time, his effort.
Wait a minute, we're not making him come next week?
I think he's excused from that
I've
one.
got time to use.
And just to wish him luck in his next role.
I don't hear any seconds.
Oof.
I'm making him come next week. I'll say that next week. We need him next week.
No, I'm still working.
Here comes all the.
Still no second. Motion fails.
Motion fails.
Brutal.
All right,
I did my best.
It's okay.
I'm making him come next week.
But we do have public comment at the end if we have any. We do people have people in the chat in case if they would like to public comment.
Is there anybody online that would like to make comments?
Raise your virtual hand or your real life hand.
So we can't see them, Shane. Only you can.
Do not see anyone with their virtual hand raised. So I think we are good, Mr. Chair.
All right, so do we have a motion to adjourn
I'll make that motion.
by Mr. Praddy? Do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Mr. Greenberg? Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mr. Praddy?
Yes.
Mr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Fabrowski?
Yes.
I'm a yes.
Thanks, Al. See you next week.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. See you later.
Thank you, Steve.